Welcome, my name is Christian Osborne and I will be conducting this webcast today on assembly management and the use of item tracking and reservations on NAV 2013. So now just moving to the next slide, which covers the agenda. So the demo script consists of two parts. The first part will cover item tracking and reservations for an item set as assembly to order. The second part will cover the same two features, but then in the use of assembly to stock. Okay, so now I'm going to move to NAV 2013 RTM version. So here we are on the assembly menu, and the first step that we're going to do is that we're going to set up a couple of items by going first to the item list, and we're just going to filter first on the item that we're going to use to assembly. Okay, and we're going to open the item card. Okay, so just a moment. Okay, now on the replenishment tab here, on the replenishment system, we have assembly, and we're just going to change that policy to assembly to order. Okay, I'm just going to go out, and the next item that we're going to highlight. Okay, and this item will be one of the components on the assembly item, and we're gonna add on that item, we're gonna add some item tracking. Okay, so at the moment it's free entry, and we're gonna do that lot all. Okay, and we close that. So next we're gonna increase the stock of this component. So we go to inventory, and we're going to use the item journal. Okay, so the entry type that we're going to use is purchase, and we're going to use that item. Okay, and we're going on all our examples of this demo script today, we're going to use location blue. Okay, and then we're going to use increase the stock with 100, which is going to go to the item tracking lines. Okay, so we're going to increase by 2 lots, lot 1 50, and the second lot 2 again 50. Okay, and after this is closed, we're going to post the item journal. So after the item journal is posted, I'm going to create a sales order for the item that we set up earlier as assembly to order. Okay, so after this is done, I'm just going to escape out here and go back to the assembly menu, and we're going to open a sales order. So create a new sales order, and we're going to specify customer 10,000, because that is a customer with default location being blue, item being type being item, sorry. And we're going to use 8924/W. Okay, so after this is done, we're going to increase, we're going to order 10 items. Now next we get the assembly availability warning message, which basically details how much we are able to assembly, but just at the moment, because we only increased the stock of one item, which you can see availability, so no issues there. I'm just going to click yes, because that will not be the focus of this this script. So what we see now is here quantity to assembly. So this is the direct link with the assembly order. So because we're using assembly to order, we the moment you create a sales order and you key in the quantity, it will also create the assembly order in the background. Additionally, you see here reserved quantity. So for example, if we click on that, you will see that there's a reservation made between the sales order and the assembly order. So I'm just going to click there. So here you can see that reservation. Okay, so now moving to the components. So for example, if we click here, we get the components that consist to make that assembly item. So for example, if we take this item here, at this stage we can assign item tracking to it. So for example here, select entries, and we can select, for example, this lot 2 or lot 1. In this case we select lot 1. Okay, so I'm just going to close it here. And now the second phase that I want to demonstrate is that you cannot, when the item is set as assembly to order, and there is a linked hard reservation between the sales order and the assembly order, you cannot assign item tracking on the assembled item from the sales order. So just to demonstrate what kind of error message you will hit, I'm just going to create a lot here. So for example, lot /A1, and we're just going to 10. So after the availability warning, if we click OK, you get this error message, which basically details that because it's a hard reservation with binding order to order, you cannot assign the item tracking on for the assembled item on the sales order. So I'm just going to click OK here, and then open the assembly order. So if we go now to show documents, now on the assembly order here, you can see here assembly to order being yes. So if we go to the navigate, we're going to open the item tracking lines page, and now we can assign item tracking, and we can click OK. So if we just close this now and we go back to line item tracking, you'll see here that the lot number is specified. Okay, so the next phase is that is to cover the reservations. So I'm just going to click OK here. Okay, now as I detailed before, there's a hard reservation, and what we cannot do is we cannot remove that reservation. So when we click, for example, cancel reservation, we get this disallow cancellation must be equal to no in the reservation entry. So you cannot remove a reservation just by cancelling it when the item is set as assembly to order. What you can do is you can decrease the quantity to assembly, and then you can update the reserved quantity. Okay, now the final phase of this first part of use of assembly to order is I want to demonstrate the use of reservations for one of the components. So if we now move to the menu here and go to inventory and we go to item journal. Okay, so on the item journal, if we key in, for example, another component, different one to the first one, and we increase the stock again with 100, this item has no item tracking. So if we just post that, okay, so that's posted. And now if we go back to the sales order and we click on the quantity to assembly, now the item that we just increased, this top level item, we can now make a reservation against it. So if we just do OK here, now you can see that the reserve quantity is 10. So you can do that on the assembly to order lines. Okay, so that concludes the first part of the demo script. So now moving to the second part, which is the use of assembly to stock. So again, we're gonna go back to the assembly menu here, and we go to the items list, and this time we're gonna update a couple of additional items. So we just go back to the item that we used earlier, 802, and what we're gonna add is, just to demonstrate, we're gonna reserve always. Okay, so I've done reserve always, and then next we go to the item journal, and sorry, not the item journal, I'm just gonna close that because that we already increased the stock earlier. What we need to do is first we go to the assembly order here, and we're going to create a new assembly order. So you can just create assembly orders on the fly for assembly to stock items. So I'm just gonna key in 88920 W, and the quantity will be 10. Okay, so you get the availability warning again, and that one. So I'm just gonna go to the top one here. Now this second step that we need to do is we need to change the location, because at the moment it's the default location blank. So if I'm just going to do blue, and you can see also here on this side here that the availability warning is still yes. So if we now click and update the lines, and here you can see again the top two items that where we increase the stock, they don't have availability anymore. So you need to update the location. Okay. Now additionally, if we go to this top level, top item here, 202.80202, and just look at the reservations, we can see here that there's a reservation made against the item ledger entry. Okay. So to continue, we're just going to delete the assembly order and go back to one assembly menu here, and we're going to update an additional item again, which we'll use for let's do W. Okay, so on this item we're gonna set a planning reordering policy being lot for lot, and additionally we're going to specify item tracking lot all. Okay, so just gonna close the item tracking the item card. So going back to assembly menu here, and we're gonna create a new sales order. So instead of creating directly an assembly order for this item, we're gonna create a sales order. Okay, so what we do is we create a new sales order for 10,000 again, and this time we are going to use 8920, so the assembly to stock item, and we do 10 again, so we get of course the availability warning, and this time we're going to add item tracking, and because this item is not assembly to order but assembly to stock, we can just use the normal way. We can add item tracking here, and we will not get the error message which we got by using assembly to order. Okay, just okay. So now the lot number is assigned to this item for output. Okay, so the final phase is that we're gonna run planning to see that that feature is also integrated. So if we go back to assembly, and here on the planning worksheet, we run calculate generative plan, and we're just going to do the first of the month till the 12th, the end of the year, and that's the item filtered and location blue. So if we now run it, we're getting a planning suggestion to create a new assembly order. So here you can see action message being new, and ref order type is assembly. And if we highlight the line, which is now, and if we navigate to the item tracking lines, we can see also the lot number. Okay, so this concludes the demo script to showcase the use of item tracking and reservations in the use of assembly to order and assembly to stock. So thank you very much for listening into this webcast, and thank you for it. Thanks.